Good evening, everyone. How's everyone today? I hope you all are well. Today, I'm gonna discuss about the grading and reporting of assessment results. So this is my ninth lesson. Okay, so according to Marco A. Monius, standard-based education and reporting will improve education in making clear linkages between standards, assessments, grading, and reporting that are concisely reported work for the betterment of all students. So at the end of this module, you are expected to identify the terms related to grading and reporting of assessment results. You can analyze the important concepts, principles, procedures and techniques in grading and reporting of assessment results. And we can be able to determine the different approaches to grading. So we will tackle about grading and reporting, which is the foundational elements in the system of education. Teachers' evaluation, which may be a formative assessment of students' performance, are represented by grading. How about reporting? Reporting is the process of communicating the results of the said evaluations to the students, parents, or to others. So educators should ensure that grading and reporting always meet the validity nature. Likewise, educators or teachers should also ensure that grading and reporting are accurate, meaningful, and fair because of its primary communication and purpose. So this is how it works. What the research tell us. That's the number one, the first step in sound classroom assessment practices associated with grading is to ensure that the grades are meaningful. The second, in determining students' grades, teachers typically merge scores from major exams to compositions, quizzes, projects, and reports along with the evidence from picture. Punctuality in turning in assignments, class participation, work habits, and effort. So what's the purpose and criteria? First, the purpose of grading is to describe how well students have achieved the learning objectives or goals established for a class or course of study. Grades should reflect students' performance on a specific learning criteria. Establishing clearly articulated criteria for grades makes the grading process for more fair and equitable. Unfortunately, different teachers often use widely varying criteria in determining students' grades, and students often aren't well informed about those criteria. What purposes do grade serves? As an evaluation of student work, as a means of communicating to students, parents, graduate schools, professional schools, and future employers about a student's performance in college and potential for further success, as a source of motivation to students for continued learning and improvement, as a means of organizing a lesson, a unit, or a semester in that grades mark transitions in course and bring. Practices reporting. Teachers need to know the domain and strands, clusters, or organizing elements and standards. So now we have, um, since they actually put grade 11 and grade 12. So the students, they will choose what strands or which strands they're going to choose. Teachers need to base grades on explicit criteria derived from the clearly established learning standards that appear and the national standard. Teachers need to clearly distinguish among the product process and progress criteria and assigning grades according to Goski 2009. How? Okay, important note is that it is advised that assessment reports of students should be based on a strong body of evidence. The student assessment report should provide a summary of students' learning in a clear, accurate, timely, and useful manner. So that's four. Assessment reports that accurately summarize what was learned in the classroom should be provided to students, provided to parents, and others with legitimate permission. The said assessment report should identify other students' strengths and areas for growth. Likewise, they should also inform the students, parents, and others about the future class placement, promotion, retention, and admission. Grading system and issues. There are two types of comparison. The first one is norm reference system. So this, according to the same source, two grading systems are utilized in grading, the norm reference grading and the criterion reference grading. So these are the two types of comparisons. The first one, having the performance of one's peers, is the focus, while the other has defined learning targets as its focus. Definition of norm reference system. In norm reference systems, students are evaluated in relationship to one another. For example, the top 10% of students receive an A. The next 30% as or B and others. So this grading system rests on the assumption that the level of student performance will not vary much from class to class. In this system, the instructor usually determines the percentage of students assigned each grade, although the percentage may be determined or at least influenced by departmental expectation and policy. What are the advantages and disadvantages of norm reference system? Advantages of norm reference system is are competition among the student is absent, which makes everybody open in helping other to learn. The class caliber does not influence the grade of a student. The disadvantages is the difficulty in setting reasonable criteria for the students without a fair amount of teaching experience. There are those who are familiar to non-reference grading and may still use this system. Some teachers water down the students' performance because only small students' percentage deserves high grades. So the second types of comparisons is criterion reference system. The definition of this is in criterion reference systems, students are evaluated an absolute scale, example 95 to 100 or 88 to 94. So 95 to 100 is equal to A, so they can get A. So 88 to 94 is equal to B. So normally the criteria are set or a set number of points of a percentage of the total. Since the standards is absolute, it is possible that all students could get as or all students could get B's, I mean A's. Yeah, all students could get A's or all students could get D's. Advantages. Students are not competing with each others and thus more likely to actively help each other learn. A student grade is not influenced by the caliber of the class. What is the disadvantages? It is difficult to set reasonable criteria for the students without a fair amount of teaching experience. Most experienced faculty set these criteria based on their knowledge of how students usually perform, thus making it fairly similar to the norm reference system. Approaches to grading. Common type of grades notation. Numerical grades. So it is a popular and well understood system because they conveniently summarize the overall performance of students. They are preferred to use averaging is possible. However, difficulty giving meaning to numerical grades may still be the problem of some teachers utilizing this, especially on the differences between values. Example, 75 and 76. Among teacher subjects and schools, interpretations may vary. In addition, the strengths and weaknesses of students are not actually described in numerical grades. Okay, so approaches to grading is also in letter grades like A, B, and C. It is popular and well understood system because they conveniently summarize the overall performance of students. They prefer to use averaging is possible. However, giving meaning to numerical grades may still be the problem with some teachers utilizing this, especially on the differences between values. Among teachers, subjects, and schools, interpretation may vary. So here, yeah, grading system still. Okay, so two category grades, satisfactory and unsatisfactory. So this is number three. Because the students need not fear about low grade point averages. This is less stressful to the said students. However, some students may tend to aspire for just a minimum competence level to pass the subject course. Information on students' strong and weak points are insufficient provided by this system. At the elementary level, checklists are common and can very well supplement or replace traditional grading and reporting system. This can be simple or elaborate. The teacher simply places a check mark next to observed statements regarding performances in the Chutnamos checklist in a checklist of objectives to performance skills. Student performance ratings are made indicating the extent of attainment of the learning outcomes or objectives. So this is the number three no category grade satisfactory and satisfactory or pass or fail. The number four is checklist. This is, the number five is standard based, beginning or similar, advanced or proficient. Teachers are required to base grades from definite standards of learning in standard-based grading. Likewise, teachers are obliged to distinguish product, process, and progress criteria in grading assessment assignment. Standards in this approach are extensive and at a higher level than a criteria of performance. Still in grading issues topic, the type of student's performance the teacher needs to be considered. How to make the consistent marking scales. Grade components and the respective weights should be decided. Standards or boundaries for each letter grade should be considered. Grading issues, yeah. Borderline issues should be considered. The issues of failures should be one in the concerns of teachers. Grade components and the respective weights should be decided. The practice of assigning 0 for a mark should be one of the teacher's concern. Guiding principles of effective grading and reporting. Grades should be based on clearly specific learning goals and performance standards. First, you have to establish and communicate standards that are indicators of success. You describe criteria for measuring success, or you report results in a clear and consistent manner. Evidence for grading should be valid. It should be measured, evidence related to learning goals. Do not let factors unrelated to learning goals affect grading, such as students, disabilities, learning style, forgetting to put name on a paper. Eliminate conditions that impede students' ability to demonstrate mastery of learning goals. Grading should be based on established criteria, not arbitrary norms. Don't grade on a curve. If students' IEP requires grading modifications, modify learning goals, and establish assessment criteria related to these goals. Design and implement systems that allow all students to achieve by demonstrating clearly defined standards. Not everything should be included in grades. Example, do not grade pre-assessments or diagnostic assessments. Formative assessments should not factor too much into grades. Base grades primarily on summative assessments that measure student mastery of learning goals over extended periods of time. We're still in guiding principles of effective grading and reporting. Avoiding grading based on averages. Evaluate students' learning later in a learning style. Consider using median or mode to assign grades. Do not average in zeros for incomplete work. Assign an incomplete for missing work and use consequences other than grades. Focus on academic achievement and report other factors separately. Report things other than achievement in ways other than grades. So this is Philippine basic education rating system. So if you consider the components, written work, performance task, quarterly assessment, the languages, APSP, and the lessons, the subjects, the science, math, MAPI, AP, PTLE. So it's from grades to 1 to 0. So this is the example of, this is the basic education rating system for senior high school. You can see the core subject, academic track, and technical vocational or livelihood, TVL, or sports arts track design. So consider in academic track, all other subjects, work, immersion, research, business, enterprise, simulation, exhibit performance. So written work, um, performance task. So this is for senior high school rating system. That's all my lesson for today. I thank you everyone for having time to listen to my discussion. I hope everyone is safe. Thank you for listening. Bye.